Felix here, and welcome to 2025, the proper beginning of this year's investing and trading year. I'm super excited to have you here. And what I want to do in the next few minutes is I want to give you the 4 ways that are, in my opinion, the easiest ways to profit in 2025 from the stock market here. And I'll share my screen with you. So that's step number 1. Would that be okay if I share that with you? Would that be okay? I'm walking through the actual trades and the reasonings for it. And then secondly, I've asked you if you want to have a great year. And so far, 95% of you are planning to make 2025 the best year financially. The 5% who answered no, now you're either Brits with a cheeky sense of humor or you don't belong to this channel, because we here are united in wanting 2025 to be the best year yet by far. And we're going to make that happen here by equipping you. So what do you think is the number 1 thing that's holding you back right now? Like, literally put it in the chat. What's the number 1 thing? Is it skills, knowledge, experience, knowing how to pick stocks, knowing how to find those big breakouts? Is it risk management? What do you think it is? And please share that with me in the chat here. Bookmonk, you're a Brit and you're voted no. I know you're kind. I know you're kind. Bastards. Okay, capital. Some of you need more capital, more money to invest. Money, interesting. Confidence, says Scott. Screening stocks, says Kindra. Brent says knowledge. Okay, loving this. Patience, says Ben. Yeah, mindset is very, very big. The fear of losing knowledge. And even the French have tuned in. Don't tell the Brits. Jerome Powell, okay, the tax man. Okay, some of you are blaming people outside of yourself. Guess what? We can't control those people. So forget about them. They're irrelevant. We can make money in all markets, up, down, sideways, and everything else here. But discipline, capital, finding the gems, strategy with risk management. Okay, brilliant. So I think if we can summarize what most people are writing here, the number 1 thing holding you back is essentially skills, or the lack thereof, the lack of knowledge, right? So therefore, would it be fair to say, if I was to give you those skills, that would be helpful? Would it be helpful if I gave you those skills? So now, I'm not going to run you through all the skills here in the next few minutes, because it would become a very tedious educational video that not everybody would enjoy, especially not the Brits nor the French. But what I can do instead is give you this masterclass where I teach you how to spot the breakouts the way we do. We'll talk a little bit about that in a moment, but I'm not going to teach you here the fundamental educational stuff, because you can go away and you can watch that in your own time. And that way you can take notes and you can rewind it and everything else. And if you learn those 3 rules that every really successful and experienced trader out there uses, and by that I mean the very small handful of people who actually do really, really well, because most people don't know them. And if they do know them, they're not going to share it with you. Why not? They're selfish bastards, aren't they? So why do I share it with you? Because I think you deserve to know. I stumbled upon it by chance because I landed a job randomly in a bank, and it's changed my life. And it can change your life too. But if, and only if, you actually watch it. You take notes, you write it down, and then you actually implement it. And that will put you in the top 1% of investors. That's what I'm saying to you. So go to felixfriends.org/org, felixfriends.org/get free, because I want you to get free. And if you missed this video, but I'm about to tell you, way less important than actually getting the skills, because the only way 2025 will be better for you and in your control if you change what's between, the ears, as in the knowledge, the skills that you have. Everything else is what some of you are saying. It's Jerome Powell, it's politicians, it's stuff outside of your control, right? If you think Trump will fix it for you, or Powell, or some politician, it's not going to happen. You have no control over that. You don't know if they are going to deliver on the things that you'd like. So the only way you can make it happen is by investing in yourself. And this is free, by the way. So by investing, I mean 30 minutes of your life, 30 minutes of actually paying attention and looking at the notes. And as Brent says, I've got my get free notes right here. Okay, love that. Thank you very much. So watch that, my friends. Okay, that's the first part here. And then I want to walk you through the 4 things that I think are the greatest investment opportunities right now. Because, quickly here, before we do. What happens if you don't learn the skills that I was just talking about? How to spot the breakouts, how to do risk management. Well, these bastards here, hedge funds and Goldman Sachs, will scare you out of your money, because Goldman Sachs is saying hedge funds are selling US stocks at the fastest pace in more than 7 months. Ah, scary, run, everybody sell everything, right? That's what they're trying to say. So they're trying to scare you out of your position so they can probably enter the market at a lower point. And what they're not telling you is this. We just had a year where the market went up. How much did it go up by? 25% or something like that, right? That was the measly return the index gave you. Better than a kick in the groin, in fairness. No, it's one of the best years in the market, in all seriousness. And the year before, actually, here it says it was 23%. Okay, 23%. This is 2024. 2023 was how much? It was 24%. So almost the same, right? So those 2 years, you're about 50% up, which is very nice. Compounded maybe a little bit more. So therefore people are saying, and this is kind of the mainstream media, right? They're saying, well, we've had these 2 beautiful years, therefore 2025, the end is near. Trump will destroy it all, tariff will end it all, inflation will go to the moon, and it's all terrible, and self-driving cars don't work, and the robots will come and kill us, and we'll all be unemployed, and all that kind of nonsense out there. And it's just not true. What happened in the few years where we had back-to-back 20% plus returns in the market? You can see it on the chart here. What happened? Well, we got every single time we had a positive return in the subsequent year. So we have not in the last 75 years had a situation where you get 2 great years in the stock market and then a negative year following. And in 3 out of those 4 years, we went up 19%, 26%, and 31%. So it really is like, it's a pretty sweet setup that we're in right now, right? So just to give you some perspective here about, the doom and gloom that people are putting out there. Why do people put doom and gloom out there? Very simple. It gets clicks. It's really very, very simple. Like if I make this video and I call it, the end is near, sell everything, we're doomed, we will get double the amount of viewers watching it, which is a sad state of affairs, but it's just fear really, really works, right? So I'd urge you to smash the like button so that we can put out content that's actually educational and useful and not fear-driven, because that kind of sucks to have to trigger fear in people to get them to tune in. Graham is saying, is this live or re-recorded? What do you think, Graham? What do you think? So let's walk through opportunity number 1. Okay, I'm going to walk through 4 of these. This is op number 1. I can't spell the whole word, opportunity. Bankers are not that smart. Who just had bumper sales in December? Anybody know? So a little bit of a giveaway there on the screen. No, it isn't the smiling man on Apple. It's what's on his shirt. On his shirt, it says Foxconn. And you might be thinking, Felix, I don't care. I don't own any Foxconn stock. And it's probably a sensible thing. It's a Taiwanese manufacturer that makes most of the Apple parts and also a lot of the Nvidia stuff out there. So, Jerome, my friend, I'm so happy to see how well you're doing, Jerome. Jerome, how much were you up by last year, 2024? Just share it, people. Like you'll inspire people, Jerome. You are, as you say, a simple mechanic. No, you're obviously brilliant, my friend, because you brilliantly follow a system. But yeah, he's doing insanely well, which I love you for. So what does this mean, Foxconn? Well, Foxconn had the best December yet, ever, in the history of Foxconn. Now, everybody is thinking, well, Apple sales are declining and therefore they're going to have a miserable year. So the best December ever means what thing? What? Well, why is it the best December ever? It's because of strong AI sales. That's what they've said. So who benefits from that? What stocks, what companies are therefore going to have, who's sending them the orders? Well, it's Apple, right? AAPL. And the other one is Nvidia, NVDA. So there you have it. Very, very simple. All you got to do is read the tea leaves, which are telling you the biggest suppliers, so these 2 companies, just had the biggest December they've ever had in the history of them manufacturing. So look at Apple, look at Nvidia. So how do you then do that? Well, you can go over, this is the morning, by the way. It looks pretty glorious and green, doesn't it? Everything is green this morning. So we pull up, say, Nvidia. And we'll do that again in a second because there's more to that story actually than meets the eye. Jerome turned $15,000 into $147,000. That's amazing, isn't it? That's really, really fantastic. $131,000 profit. Jerome, congratulations, my friend. You very, very much deserve it because he put in the work, right? He actually studied, he actually learned, he actually practiced, he actually followed rules, and he has risk management. So he's doing super, super well because he deserves it. So what do you see on our trade vision chart here for Nvidia? You see that it says buy. Now, it's an indicator. It's not always 100% right, but that was on Friday, right? Where are we trading right now? Above that level. Let me just turn off the indicator here. We're trading at $148. So we're gapping up $4 here. And now you know why, right? Because of that Foxconn news, which is very impressive. So that's very, very good news. And it breaks us out of this downward trend that I painted in here. Volume was pretty decent on Friday. Watch out for volume today. I suspect it's going to be higher. And we could be looking at a breakout of the 100 over the 150 level here, which is the previous highs from November. And Nvidia could be taken off in a nice way. And I'll tell you a little bit why in a moment, right? Jerome, my friend, I'm grateful for people like you, very, very much, because you are kind, you're generous, you put in the work, and then there's a little bit of work you got to put in, especially when you want to learn options. And you don't have to, you can also do really well with stocks, but options obviously can give you a little bit of an edge. And you're very generous in your kind soul, and you share it with people, and you inspire people. So keep doing exactly what you're doing, my friend. And as I always say to our students who are doing insanely well, when you're doing insanely well, overconfidence will crawl in. So make sure you've got your risk management really tight, write it out, put it on your screen, so you will never ever think, yeah, but I'm such a genius, you know, it's gonna be all right. This one will be different. As long as you don't allow that to creep in, and it's natural, by the way. It's happened to me too. It happens to me too every once in a while. Follow your rules, and the money will forever be yours, right? Which is brilliant. Okay, second piece of news here, which also pertains to Nvidia. The news out is that the ChatGPT moment for physical AI and robotics is just around the corner. And guess who's going to benefit from that? And what does that mean, by the way? It just means that robots and machines like cars that are driven by AI are about to be a real reality and will go mainstream very, very rapidly. So who's at the center and the heart of that whole thing? Well, it's Nvidia. They're basically positioning themselves as the go-to platform for robotics. They offer a full robotics stack, which means all the technology, everything there, software for training the models, and a simulation platform, the Jetson hardware, which I love. You know, ever watch the Jetsons, where you just fly out of your high-rise building and, you know, that kind of thing. And that's going to happen. And Nvidia says, you know, the robotics market is about to explode. So again, Nvidia, right? That's very good news. And bear in mind, this is a stock that's done absolutely nothing since last summer. Literally nothing at all. And what did I say at the end of last year? I said, well, I think AI stocks like Nvidia, the chip stocks, they were laggards. They didn't do that well in 2024, even though everybody talked about them. So I think 2025 is the year for these guys. And mirrors there. I'm very happy to hear your mindset change, my friend. We change one mindset at a time, right? The bag holding, the discount averaging, all that kind of stuff. AMD, I actually just recorded a video on that one as well. Super happy to answer your questions on that one. I think don't be too early. That's also one of my lessons. Don't be early, don't be too late. But so we've got two plays there so far, right? And you could weave Tesla, obviously, into the robotics play as well. That's another fair one here. But stock number 3, this is the pure Tesla play. Chief Investment Officer Keith Fitzgerald says Tesla is headed to 20 trillion. He calls Tesla today like the Apple 2014 moment. What happened to Apple in 2014? This thing here went mainstream. Where is it? There it is, right? The iPhone went mainstream. And their margins exploded because they were, you know, software and everything else. That's where Tesla is today. Tesla will, in one foul strike of a pen, one line of code, will turn from a car company in the eyes of Wall Street to a recurring revenue service business, because it'll all be FSD. Right? And I'm not even talking about energy or robots or any of that, just FSD. It means you no longer sell cars, you sell a service, a transport service that people will take, you know, every second of the day, 24 hours a day, billions of these trips a year, and that's going to change the multiple to that of a Netflix type business rather than a car company business, which is going to change absolutely everything. So that's very, very good news, I think, for Tesla. So, you know, in our Tesla trade, I'm still in it. I never got out of it. Here is it. Where is it? We have an options trade open on it. And this is again in Trade Vision. You can track your trades, which I love. It's very cool. You can import it here. We're still up $25,000 on that trade, 165% up on that. And what I really like is you can do this with stocks, you can do this with options, any major brokerage now. You can see your entry points on the chart, which I think is very, very useful. You can see exactly what's happening to each position and so on. So this is basically free. Like, we just throw this in there. Everyone else is charging you like $30 or $50 a month for this. We don't do that because we think you actually deserve to know what's happening with your portfolio. Brokers seem to disagree. Christoph, I'm very happy to see you on here, and I'm very glad that me and the coaches are helping you, my friend, and that you are having the best year yet. Look at that. What did you say? You made my last year my most successful to date. Looking forward to see how this year's is going to go. It's going to be even better, my friend. It's going to go even better. So what's the next opportunity here? This is opportunity number, what is it, 3 now? Is it number 4? I can't remember. I lost count. But anyway, big opportunity, the Mag 7. Okay, and I'll explain to you 2 reasons why this is an opportunity. This is the stock chart of the Mag 7, right? Do you see what it does every time it hits this trend line? It bounces off, and it's bouncing off. And that's also slightly above the yellow line here, which is the 50-day moving average line, which is a very, very important line. If you watch the masterclass, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you don't, well, at least get yourself a Trade Vision here, which is the software that I'm using. So that's, you know, the sort of technical, the momentum, the psychology of the market saying Magnificent 7 will be magnificent in 2025. But there is more. The Donald, the new El Presidente coming in, apparently floated a balloon here, and it may or may not come from him, but they're basically saying he may not be quite as aggressive on tariffs as previously thought. And he would be only putting tariffs on things that are critical to the US, because stuff that he wants to move back to the US. So that would be slightly more limited in terms of, you know, 80% or something like that, tariffs on everything. And what's that doing? Well, it's pushing the dollar down. So this is the dollar, this is the DXY, and it's broke out of its sort of upper end of the range here, and now it's coming back down quite aggressively. So why is that good? Why should you care? I mean, you might just be an American and you think, damn it, my Easter holiday is getting more expensive, and that might well be the case. But the companies that sell a lot in non-US dollars, so, you know, in monkey money currency, you know, euros and, you know, yen and you know, all that sort of horror show. Who are those companies? Well, it is Microsoft, right? It is, I think about 40% of their revenue is from outside the US. Netflix, it's very similar. So it's the big tech stocks that will benefit from this. Why will they benefit from this? Well, what happens if Microsoft earns, you know, €1 when they report their earnings to the US stock market, because it's an American company listed in the US, they have to convert that €1 into, you know, some sort of US dollar amount. So when the US dollar is stronger, that euro that they collected in Europe from the impoverished Europeans is worth less. So it isn't worth that much. So all the overseas business is worth less, and it depresses their earnings. It makes the company less wealthy, less worthy, less, you know, successful. So a weaker dollar is good for most of the large tech companies, which takes us back to the Magnificent 7. Hence the chart up here, right? So that's one of the reasons that they are bouncing off. So I think Mag 7s will do very, very well. So how are you going to do very well? Who's going to go watch the masterclass? Put a number 1 in the chat here if you are going to watch the masterclass. This is for masterclass. Link is down below. Put a number 2 in there if you say no, because perhaps you are French and you're just against things. You know, that would be good and free and could make you do really, really well. Okay. Any ones or twos here? Put it in the live chat, and then I'll look you and throw in some bonus data here to make sure you're the best informed investor out there right now. Okay, we have a lot of ones there. Logan says 100, brilliant. Okay, the 2 of you already seen it. That's valid. I watched it already. Okay, love you for that. 3 times already. 111. Watched it 5 times. Brilliant. Someday soon. Oh dear, my friend. You know what the worst thing is that you could do, David? David Frost. The worst thing you can do is someday, because someday is never. Someday is no progress. Someday is the same you had yesterday, the same you have today, and tomorrow will be the same as yesterday. Now, if you were absolutely thrilled with yesterday and all the days previous, okay, good on you. But if part of you, and because you said someday, I think part of you wants things to be better. Part of you wants you to be a better informed, more confident investor who feels really, really good and happy and confident about making money from your money. So why would you make it someday? Someday is never, my friend. Someday is the worst answer you could ever give to something you want to achieve, because it means it'll never, ever happen. As Mark says, don't put it off. It's a must watch. Procrastinators unite someday. Really, it's the worst thing you can do. I wake up every single morning and I write down the things I want to achieve that day. And I do the one thing that's actually going to make an impact that day first. And that's usually the most uncomfortable task, the thing I'm trying to put off. I have to do it first. It's the only way I get it done, because there's a procrastinator inside all of us, right? Okay, Joshua takes it to another level there. Procrastination is a tool of the devil. Okay. Yeah, there is perhaps something in that, but that's the thing, just a little bit darker than I was intending to, but I like your enthusiasm. Okay, here's some bonus data. If the market goes up, and look at the pre-market right here. Look at this, the pre-market. We're up 2.6% on Tesla, 2.6% on Nvidia, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Amazon are all in the green. Basically everything is green here this morning. Look at the bastards shorting the market. Right? We're at 1.9% short interest of which is quite a lot. If I draw a line back here over the last 2 years, we're very rarely higher. In the summer of 2024, we were higher, and we took a little bit of a tumble there at one point. So what happens to all these guys as the market goes up? They get squeezed. And what do? They have to buy to close out of their positions, which does what? It drives stock prices higher. Exactly. So just to throw that out there, the higher the short interest, the happier I am if I'm bullish. And then secondly, again, this is a screenshot from Trade Vision here. Go grab yourself a week's trial to this, and you see a ton of stuff. But let me explain to you one very, very cool piece of data. And we're literally the only people out there that give you access to that because nobody else seems to really understand how it works. This is the S&P, right? And it's looks quite nice, right? It's a pretty nice sort of upwards momentum here. But what do you see? You see that it's bouncing above this support line here at 5,900. It's bouncing up there, right? And this support line is we calculated from all the open options trades out there in the market, which is actually what drives the market. And from that, we can tell where market makers, who sort of like the hedge fund guys on the other side of all your trades, where they have to buy. So they have to buy at these levels. So what would therefore be really useful to see is whether they are getting more bullish or less bullish, right? Are they moving those support levels up or down, right? So what if you could see that? Well, you can, because we've added it here. So this little green zigzaggy line here is the support line over time for every single day. And guess where it was on Friday? It was at 5,800. Do you notice something? Did you notice? Did you pay attention? Right now it's at 5,900. So it's moved from here up. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's a supportive thing for the market. The market's saying, we've had our dips, we're over it, come and enjoy the new year. That's what the market's saying. So it's very important to watch those lines, and you can watch those lines in Trade Vision. Again, link is down below, and track your portfolio, do a thousand other things that are useful. But this is one thing I look at every single day because it's insanely important. So, my friends, now that you're all running away, which you're very welcome to, and watch the masterclass, Fox is reminding me to talk about PayPal. So there are some YouTubers who got very irritated with PayPal because they own a company called Honey, which they purchased in the sort of madness of purchasing everything. And that basically, it's sort of like an affiliate type thing. I don't really understand it. I don't really go for that kind of thing. But they were sort of accused of pinching people's affiliates revenue in a sense, in collecting it themselves. And that may or may not be true. I don't know. But what I can tell you, it is absolutely irrelevant for the stock price because it doesn't make any bloody difference. It's a relatively tiny business. Revenue isn't significant and nobody cares, except for a few YouTubers who are very mad about it. Okay, it's fine to be mad about stuff. I get it. People feel they've been treated unfairly and all of that. But does it affect the stock price? No. And look at the stock price right here, right? We're again bounced off the support line here at 86. See that there? Bounced off it. Nice green candle on Friday. We're trading slightly above that today. We're trading above this dotted line I put in, which is the sort of trend line for PayPal. So no, it doesn't make any bloody difference. Just because a lot of people shout about things doesn't mean the market cares. All you need to know is look at the stock chart. The market doesn't care, right? The reason that red candle was there was that was 18th of December. That was Jerome Powell. So it was not Honey. Brian, starting the new year with a hip, skip, and a jump up. Brilliant. Love to see that. Brent, Palantir was downgraded by one moron. Yeah, whatever. PayPal paid $4 billion for Honey. Yeah, it's basically written off already. It's not really worth that, is it? And there'll be a lawsuit. There's always a lawsuit. It's the United States, right? The one thing you can guarantee in the United States is lawsuits. So no, honestly, it doesn't make any difference. It's just not big enough to impact them. Few people want their money back. Who cares? 4% of their merchants and less of their customers use Honey, says Jules there. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you on that. It's a non-issue. It's just a small little noisy thing that doesn't make any difference. Right. So a flesh wound, something like that. Nothing to worry about. More like a scrap. What about penny stocks? Yeah, they can be very good. What was the fourth opportunity? Can't remember. What did we have? We had Apple, we had Nvidia, we had Tesla, and we had the Magnificent Seven. And there's a little bit of overlap there. I get that, but they are kind of the lower hanging fruit. And then, of course, there are many others, and there are opportunities every single day. There are breakouts every single day. If you want to watch and spot them, well, watch the masterclass. And we're also going to put a breakout indicator into Trade Vision very shortly. I'm testing it this week. It looks very good. Looks very good. But I want to test drive it for a week to see how it performs. Is this for day trading or like long-term trading? For me, I don't day trade. That sounds like too much like work. So I never do that. Define long-term, right? So definitely longer than a day, definitely longer than a week. Not necessarily longer than 6 months or a year. I don't really go for the whole hold till death do us part thing with most businesses because things are cyclical, right? Look, in PayPal is a stock I'm in at the moment. Is a trade I have open, but look at this horror show, right? Right. So hold good quality stocks forever? No. Hold good quality stocks until they stop performing, right? So we got out somewhere up here. Or wherever it was. At least we should have gotten out up there. And we did get out at some point. And now we're back in because it's rallying. So the buy and hold investor on PayPal had a pretty miserable time period, whereas the trader, and by trader I mean people who are in things perhaps for months, maybe even for 6 months or something, until the party stops, we've made money and everybody else hasn't. And that's why it's important. Day trading makes you get older quick. Yeah, it's not a fun thing to do. It's just too stressful. Robert, bon année to you too. Appreciate you tuning in. Is PayPal still performing? Yeah, what's not to like? It's above the trend line. It's Really nothing. Okay, there was a little bit of a wobble, but that was sort of a end of year wobble for most tech stocks. And then we hit the 50-day moving average line. We bounced off it again. So, we're happy. That was actually a buy opportunity. Trade Vision app. Yeah, I have it on my phone already. It looks good, but it's coming to your phones too as well, soonish. Actually, I wanted to show you, but I have the wrong phone here. I have too many phones. So it's coming, but we just want to make sure it's really good. So we like to test things a little bit more thoroughly before we put them out. So there's still a few tweaks to be made. V says, I sold my Nvidia because it stopped performing. I regret it. Why would you regret it? It's done nothing for 6 months. Surely your money did something better for those 6 months than sitting around doing nothing, right? So the market went up, 15% in that period? So better not to be in stuff that doesn't perform. Scott says, I'd be happy to beta test. I might well take you up on that offer, Scott. At the moment, it's kind of an internal test. That's first step. And then we tend to roll it out to kind of some of the people in the student body and some of our head coaches and stuff. And yeah, it'll be brilliant, absolutely. And there's a ton of stuff that we obviously want to do in the long run. Later on, we want to have notifications and that kind of stuff. So yeah, a lot of stuff coming. All right, so markets open. Shall we have a look at it? Well, PayPal's looking pretty good. Let's have a look at some of our favorite tech stocks here. Tesla's up very nicely, trading at $422. That's a nice bounce off that support line at 375, right? Did that move down a bit? No, held pretty stable actually here. You see the support line down there? Didn't really move at all since the beginning of the year, which is good. And then Nvidia, and if you're wondering what I'm looking at here, this is Trade Vision there. Links down below. Nvidia, very nice bounce off here at $148.50 right now, which is of course beautiful. So we're battling here with the 150, which is going to be the real high up there. So break through the 150 on some decent volume and party time starting for 2025. Scott, I know you are. So I'll let you know if we do a better test. We might well do that for the app. I appreciate your kind offer to test that. Anything else you want to look at? Palantir, perhaps? It's down a little bit. At 78.25, are we worried about that? No, not really. It's sort of in the midst of support resistance line here. It's halfway through where we were on Friday. I don't think it's a big deal so far, but just a little sell-off there. Nothing dramatic. The support did move up over the last couple of days here from 74 to now 77. So that's kind of positive there, I would say. And we'll see where we end up later on today. ARM's moving up. SoFi, we could definitely have a look at that for sure. Check AMD. Too early for AMD. That's what I keep saying. And people are going to be like, yeah, but it's going to go up eventually. Eventually it might. But I don't like to be early because back holding isn't fun. SoFi doing very nicely, about $15, which is the resistance line here. 15.15. So it's kind of moving back into its sort of... that $15, $16 zone. And that's good. It's very good. Very happy to see that. Why is there no candle? Yeah, good question. It should, it's still acting like it's pre-market, isn't it? It can do that sometimes. I have flagged that to our team, by the way. Do we have a candle yet? Third? No. Not yet. Weird. Yes, it is a little weird. I agree with you. I shall take a screenshot and submit it to the mighty who handle our development. So we'll put that back in. So there we are. You have to view a month or more to see support history. Not quite sure what you mean by that. Vincent, if you're jumping, my friend, paper trade. That's really the solution. Just like get a simulator and paper trade, and that way, you don't lose any money when you screw up, which you will, and that's a good thing to screw up in simulated money, and that way you don't lose anything. And then once you've done that and you're happy with that, you start really, really small, and then you might still screw up there, but then it's a small lesson, and then you gradually sort of scale up, which is really the way to do it. Now there was actually a funky trade I wanted to put on today, and we might yet still do that. But at the moment, yeah, we're up quite nicely. This is our sort of, this is my original like 30K portfolio I sort of set up for, it's a live account, which I set up to kind of show what we're doing here. And at the moment we're at 68,000, so we're doing quite nicely, right? And on the day we're up $2,300, we're up 119% on the open trades here at the moment. So we're doing quite sweetly there as we should. And we're going to have a lot of fun this year. Now, let me see if there are any other major questions that I missed. MicroStrategy. What do you think of Coca-Cola? I actually think that's a very good stock, I think. I think it could be an interesting one if you have a long enough time horizon to buy it. Yields and shareholder yields pretty good on that one. But it's not going to make you rich overnight if that's what you're thinking. But it's a quality play. I would argue. I think there's a little bit of wobbles so going on around. What's JFK, I was going to say, RFK going to do to, all those companies that basically poison and kill their customers? And Coca-Cola, of course, is one of those. So I think that's a little bit the question. And how is that all going to affect that space with everything that they're putting together? MicroStrategy here, nice recovery, limping its way back above the 50-day moving average line, but still a little bit limping. So I think we still need to see the real like oomph in Bitcoin. I have some Bitcoin Trust IBIT, which is the biggest ETF on Bitcoin. I have some trades open on that, and it's just hasn't really done anything. It's just like going sideways. But that's just the way the Bitcoin space tends to work. It goes sideways for quite a while. Is the breakout indicator in the screener? We're working on that still. It's still an internal thing, but it's going to come. It's going to come. I should never announce these things up front. I always get told off about it, but I get excited by them. So at the moment we have, if you we have a trend indicator, which is sort of a momentum indicator, and anyone watch the fish named Wanda? So that reminds me of so which does pretty well on most things, except if they go up in a straight line. It's hard to beat that. But say a Tesla, buy and hold over the last 2 years got you 57%, 2%, and our little trading indicator here, our momentum indicator, would have gotten you 57%, and only being in the sort of green bits here, you see. And then the rest of the time you could have put your money to work in something else, because Tesla actually massively underperformed the market the last 2 years. A lot of questions about Rigetti, says Fox. All right, let's have a look at that then. Rigetti, RGTI, Rigetti Computing. And obviously you have to bear in mind, these are very volatile stocks, so you really need to have a solid risk plan there in setup, automated preferably. Breakout was down here somewhere, 22nd of November at about $1 or $2, and we're trading at 20 now, so that's pretty sweet, right? Now, is that the moment to buy it? I would say it's a little late to the party. I don't chase things, but I mean, volume is very impressive. So in today is another good-looking day, so it might well go up a lot higher. Resistance here at $20, probably not that strong, I would think. I'm not sure how much options volume there is on Rigetti. I imagine it's not that much. Is there? No, it's pretty thin. So I don't think it affects that much. But so yeah, maybe it'll go a lot higher. Maybe it won't. I suspect that a lot of the people in this are hedge funds, and they're trying to take your money, and they're gonna rug pull you one day, and then you'll be standing there, naked. So Terry, thanks for all the cat emojis. We have 4 right now, which is very nice, and they're very, very sweet. Can you import Trading 212 account to TradeVision yet? That's a good question. Yeah, Trading 212 supported. Can you see that here? So there we go. You can import that. We're working on automated imports as well, but we have to get permission from every bloody broker, and they're not the fastest. But it'll come. It'll come. Fish, what was the middle thing? A fish named Wanda. Do you remember that movie? It's like an 80s, 90s film. It's very good. It's very funny. I actually wouldn't mind watching that again. So your QS is flying. Happy to see it. Winston today. Winston snoozing in the kitchen. Where's Nvidia's resistance at the moment? Jamie, go to Trade Vision. Check it out yourself. Links down below. And in all seriousness, I love you for watching. I love you for tuning in, for putting up with my sort of in-depth things. People always tell me, like, give them less data, less charts. You're scaring people. But I think that's just what you need to know. And I think enough of us are capable of absorbing the information. So do one thing for yourself. Improve what's between the ears this today, not next week, not on the weekend, not at some point, not someday, as some of you said here earlier. Go watch the masterclass, links down below. It's free of charge. It'll take you 30 minutes. Make sure you take notes so you actually learn and absorb what I'm telling you there, and then you'll never look at stock charts quite the same way again. And I think you too can have the best year ever. Like Jerome here, who shared with us earlier, he turned $15,000 into $140,000 last year. With a little bit of our help, which I'm very, very happy about. So I appreciate you. Have a beautiful day, and I hope